Good evening, guys. It's Kimberly. We are in the workshop and we are in a little bit earlier than we normally come live. We decided trying to come on, pardon me for bobbling you guys, trying to come on a little bit earlier since we've had the time change. It bounces us back. And so it feels like we're out here at a later hour, and I know you guys have other things to do. So we thought that we would jump on here at 7 instead. So I know this is an unusual time for most of you guys that are following our Facebook Lives. My name is Kimberly. We come in here into this workshop and we do 101 start to finish on some of these different projects that we work in here tonight on different days. Most of the time it's Tuesday, Thursday. We've cut it back a little bit just because time has changed and everybody's trying to get used to that, as well as all the craziness we've had going on in the world. So we're all just trying to hang in here somehow, some way, figuring how we're going to work all of this. So yes, we are still working behind the scenes. We have not brought those workshops back just as yet. So I hope that you're here with us tonight. If you are, again, my name is Kimberly. I'm with Unique Finds and Furniture Designs here in Kernersville, North Carolina. And we do start to finish tutorials. We have a Facebook page. It is called Unique Finds and Furniture Designs. And that is for those of you who have never seen us before and you're scrolling and you found us, and here we are. So tonight I'm working on this farmhouse table and Windsor back chairs. So I have 4 Windsor back chairs, the farmhouse table, and I will also be working on a bench for this set. So I have come in here and done several steps prior to us coming live. If you were following us, we were working on a antique hutch, a cherry cabinet, a corner cabinet. It is over here. It is finished. It is drying, or I should say curing. And but it is ready and it is over there, and we will showcase that and show you guys that. We also did a couple of end tables while you guys were away, and from last Thursday, and now we are working on this project. What I did prior to where we are tonight is I did come in here, and I'm going to move this out because I keep trying to bump it into. I did come in here and clean everything. Obviously, I always come in, use our White Lightning cleaner, and with the White Lightning cleaner, it is a powder. We put this powder in a spray bottle, add some water to it. I use a teaspoon of it in a spray bottle, mix it up with warm water, and I start to clean my projects. I always clean my projects first, just because of pledge, Old English, any kind of dusting products. You don't want that between your paint and your pieces. Obviously, we do Dixie Belle chalk mineral paint here on these tutorials. And so that's what I did to prior prep. Now, one other thing I did do that you are seeing on here, let me grab it real quick. You are seeing on the top of this piece, let's see here. So, this was a chop block table. So, on top of it, after I cleaned it, the chop block, I did put slick stick on it. Chalk block is a little bit harder when you add paint. A lot of times the adhesion is an issue. So, if you don't want that, take a 220 grit, 120 grit, something like that. I did clean it, then I did give it a light scuffing, if you will, to knock any shine down. I did use this now on the chop block as well as on the seats of these Windsor chairs. Now, after I got done cleaning the process on the bottom part here underneath of this, I cleaned it. I did come in, because these particular types of table and chairs that are out there, these are powder coated, and a lot of times when you clean it, it's still super shiny. And so you want to really, I personally want to knock that shine down so that I have a nice adhesion between my paint and my product. And this particular Windsor back chairs and this type of style of table, oftentimes you will find that they are powder coated, and that powder coat kind of makes it a little bit harder for your paint to adhere to it. So just heed that warning when you go to paint these. If you want your paint to stick, You will want to clean it real good. I would knock that powder coating down. I take it outside, knock it down just by hand. You're not having to get a sander out or anything tenacious like that. Just kind of knock it back, and then I wipe it back down with a damp cloth, and then you're good to go to paint. So it's just a particular step when you're working with these powder coated type of furniture, and you'll see it on all kinds. I know there's other kinds of furniture, not this particular, this is not IKEA furniture, but IKEA furniture is a lot of times the same way. And if you want to paint that, you'll notice it's got a real shiny surface, and you wash it and you go to lightly sand it, it'll have a real fine powder, and that's a powder coating. And it just is, it creates a barrier to keep it tough and lasting. And so it works for their purpose, but for our purpose in wanting to repaint that, we do want to kind of knock that powder coating down, then come in with a damp cloth, wipe it back down, and you're good to paint, which is what I did. That's my process that I did on the bottom half. This is the color of cotton that you're seeing that I did paint. The bottom half of this is in cotton, and I'm about to start on the seats of this, and I think the tabletop, and I'm going to actually use the manatee gray. I've done several of these in the different gray tones, and so this is a little lighter gray tone against the white, so I think it'll still stand out enough that you'll like the look of it. But you can use anything you want on here, and a lot of times I will come in here and do a wood grain effect. I'll decide that along the road if I'll do that or not. A lot of times I do kind of like to use my grays. Some people like to you could use black, certainly. You could do all black seats and a black top, and then you have your black and white. Or you could come in with a coffee bean and do a coffee bean top and seats. That's a pretty darker color. I do like it as well. So it's really your preference on what you want to use. In fact, I'm using what I happen to have in the workshop, which is the manatee gray. I also have driftwood. Driftwood is a tone lighter, but I'm wanting it to have a little bit of a contrast so that the driftwood is a lot lighter, and it might not show out quite as much. So again, on the tabletops, I did put the slick stick, and on the seat here, I use slick stick as well that we're about to hit. So a lot of times when I do use slick stick, and I'm gonna step back out of the way here, and I am gonna grab one of my well-loved and well-used sanding sponges. They're Dixie Belle sanding sponge. They probably start out as 120 grit, and now this is like nothing grit, but it's just enough to knock the edge off of our seat. And so you can see I have painted this with the slick stick, and I've done that because chop block wood tends to have you have a harder time getting a good coat of paint on that. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to knock this back. I'm going to move my paint out of the way. I'm just going to barely. So what I'm saying by my shoulder is sore, I've been painting this all day long. I've been working on this set. And I'll be working on the bench that goes with it. So I just kind of come in and I just kind of knock back my move back. Uh-oh. It said, do not rotate the phone. I wasn't rotating the phone, but it didn't like that bobble. Sorry, guys. So I'm just going to kind of come in here, and I did paint all of this with the cotton. That's the color you're seeing here. And don't be surprised that you might have to go in and do a little touch-up. Every now and then you will come in and you'll get some paint on your spindles there. But you can always come back. I also used this to knock down. Now I just painted this, so I would have waited another night or two where it was real cured. But you can knock down, you're just barely hitting it, and give your paint a nice, smooth, baby soft feel. You don't have to settle for that chalky feel. If you don't like the chalky feel, which I don't, I love the look of chalk paint, but the feel of it is a whole nother story. I like it to be, you can hear me drag my hand over it, versus this side that's baby smooth. So if you like that baby smooth, you just take the very, very fine sandpaper and you just barely touch it, and it'll knock that roughness off of your chalk paint. If that bothers you, which it does me, I don't like it that way. I like it nice and smooth. The same here. So I've just knocked back my slick stick. That's what's on these seats because I want my paint to stick. And you can just see how smooth. It's very smooth. And I'm going to come in here. I'm going to show you. I'm just going to apply some of our Manatee Gray paint onto this. Now, I have been previously painting today, so my brush is still very damp from painting earlier. So I'm just going to show you how I go around getting these Windsor back chairs painted and how we are coming along with the different pieces in here. So this is the Manatee Gray. I have an 8-ounce container, less than that in there. Trust me, that'll be plenty of paint to paint the top of this and all these chair seats. So I'm just going to come in here with this paint and get started. Normally I will turn my chair kind of toward me and just kind of come in here, and maybe you guys can see, move you in so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. So I just kind of come in and use my brush. And you'll see every once in a while I'll get a nip or two on my white, which I'm not too concerned about. Now, I am going over again the slick stick. So when you go over slick stick, sometimes you might go over it more than once. But a lot of times I get one coat coverage. So right now I'm just kind of going around those spindles. And yes, I am hand painting every one of these. Most of my furniture, well, pretty much all of my furniture, I should say, goes out hand painted. I haven't got a sprayer yet. And in some cases, it would be better. Now, a lot of times, if I notice that the chair bottoms have an issue, a bunch of scratches or something like that, one way to trick the eye with the scratches would be to use the wood grain tool and do a wood grain color, a wood grain effect on it, and that will hide a multitude of sins, if you will, when it comes to scratches on your seat bottoms. So if you've not used that wood grain tool, you would love it for that, because if you get into a situation where your chairs have an abundance of scratches on it. Now, Dixie Belle chalk paint is pretty self-leveling, so a lot of times you may not see it once it levels in. Now, this is one coat. This is the Manatee Gray. I'm gliding on here, and I really kind of like the contrast between the two. I like the dark. For some reason, I tend to have pretty decent luck with the resale of the gray sets, but definitely it's a preference of anyone's. And a lot of times, like I say, if they are pretty scratched up, I do tend to use the wood graining tool. So that's one coat coverage you're seeing right there. You see how nice that's going to look. I'm going to come around here to this side, and then I come around here and do the back side of these spindles. Just kind of show you, this is exactly how I do mine every single time I get a chair set in. And trust me, my arm is sore from doing these chairs, because I did lightly sand them by hand due to the powder coating. These particular style chairs and furniture set do have that powder coating. And I like to get that off, not off, but at least rough it up so that I know my paint will stick. And I'm being a little bit careful because, like I said, my paint is relatively soft still. And my brush is well loved. It wouldn't hurt me any to invest in another Dixie Belle flat, because that's what this one is. I have two of them actually. I have one flat that I use for paint, and then I have one flat that I use only for top coats, because you can see you get some painting and stays in your brush even though you clean them. And I'm pretty good about cleaning mine every single time I use them. But even though you do, you still get remnants of some paint left in your brush. So I'm gonna just kind of spin this around, come in here where I see. That's the nice thing about our paint. You can come in at any given time and just kind of clean up your mess. If you made a marks or something, you can kind of clean it up pretty easily. So pretty much give it all one coat coverage pretty easily there. And again, yes, I'm going to come along this edge here. A lot of times when I get my spindles, it's not when I'm painting around my spindles, it's when I get sloppy painting around the edge. And but remember, I always have an artist brush, whatever you want to call it, artist brush handy, so I can always come in afterwards and touch up if I mess up. So you can see it takes about that long, and that's one coat coverage that you're seeing right there. And I am going over, this is Slick Stick that I am putting over it, because that Slick Stick's going to ensure the adhesion onto that chop block, you know, these chop block style tables and chairs. And that's exactly what this is. That's what the top is up there. And so that's why I put my Slick Stick on it. And I'm notorious for I'd rather be safe than sorry. So I'd rather go the extra step and go the extra mile and know that my product's going to turn out the way I want it, versus, and there you go. That's one chair pretty much done, and that's one coat right there over the Slick Stick that you're seeing. So I'm just going to push it aside ever so gently, pull me up another one, and rub the edge there. Sometimes I think I don't have enough room in here, and I know I don't. Move that out of my way so I don't bump it. And let's just hit this one. So I'm not really sanding this, but I'm knocking down any roughness that might be on it. And because there is really and you can see how it is here along the edge. You can see where I painted these spindles and got some paint on there. You'll never know when I put my manatee gray on it. But I do kind of come and knock it down so I can be sure that it's going to be on smooth. And like I say, there's sometimes your chairs might have a few imperfections. If it's in pretty much, these are pretty much in mint condition. They don't really have too much in the way of major imperfections. I didn't have to deal with anything. You can see there's really no dust there. But if you thought there were, you can always just come in with a damp cloth and wipe it back. And make sure that you don't have any. So then you get to start all over again. Hey Johnny, how are you? Oh, you love the Windsor back chairs. I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. You know, I'm just here painting away and just look up and see, hey, my brother's on. Where are you at? You home or no? Probably not. I'd say you're probably out on the highway. So yeah, I'm just going to show you guys how I get in here and paint these Windsor back chairs. Yes, this is a farmhouse table that I'm converting farmhouse, let's just say. So I painted under here in the cotton. I can't remember if we sent cotton and caviar to you. I can't remember, but I know we had darker colors. And then, yeah, these chairs will have a very cool farmhouse feel. And also, I'm working on a bench for it. So this will have 4 seats and a bench. You know, I'm at that point, and I'm sitting here with my knees folded. I'm going to pay for that in a minute. So, sitting here all folded up on this chair, I want to pull you in so you guys can see. Thank you for being here tonight. Maybe can I scroll up and see? Yeah, I can. Okay. I know. Oh, you're in Nashville. Going to Texas. Kayla's on her way to Nevada, I believe. And with her haul. Flatbedding to Nevada. Almost to Cali. Oops, sorry about that. Almost to Cali. So you'll be in Texas. Darn, you and Kayla, it's a wonder y'all don't pass each other. Pass each other in the night. Or I should say in the wee hours of the morning with Kayla. She prefers to roll early hours. So again, I'm coming along this edge here. This is how I just kind of cut in. I mean, I just used the flat area, the flatness. I know my brush is in dire need of repair as far as replacing, but you know, you get used to it's like an old pair of gloves, you know, you get used to wearing them, and you just put an old pair of jeans or whatever, and you just wear them until you wear them out, and then you can't really place a broken, and see, I got a little right here on my cotton. I'm not worried about it because I will bring a art brush in later and fine tune it, tweak it back out. I like the Windsor style chairs too. I like the ladder back chairs, which are rare too. I like ladder back chairs. These Windsor chairs are pretty cool. I like the middle, you know, where you add a little bit of the Modern Farmhouse. This will be more classic, I guess you would say, more of a classic farmhouse style. I know that they're a little bit of a pain when it comes to having to paint, especially if you're a hand painter like me, wear your arm out. And if you're a lefty or you're a righty, you're going to wear whichever one you use the most. You're probably going to wear it out. Because a lot of times I feel it in the night with my arms. Because I'm not actually spraying. And as Johnny knows, I can spray. I just don't have a setup to spray. As of yet, I spent half my life spraying propane tanks. So I can spray these. It'd be real difficult, I think, a little bit. All the taping off. I used to like, the taping, you know, depending on what you're taping off. But these would be interesting because you'd have to tape off all these spindles. And I don't know if it would save me more time just by grabbing a brush and just, you know, sitting here. And that's what I do. I have to tell myself, you guys, when I am painting ladder back, spindle back chairs like this, that just take your time. Just don't get in any hurry. One spindle at a time, and before you know it, you'll have all four of your chairs. Or if you're, you know, ever so gifted, you may end up with 6. A lot of times you have 6. I have a couple in the back over there, just spares. They weren't with this set, but there are a couple that I have because I had a small table, so I only did like 2 chairs for it, so it left me with extra chairs. So sometimes, you know, that's the time consuming. This right here, this cutting in along the edge, it's just time consuming and patience. If it's your set, you're going to take your time and be patient with it because, you know, you're just wanting to redo your own stuff, and that's cool. And you got all the time in the world. So just take your time and enjoy it. And in my case, I have to tell myself, slow down. Just don't get in any hurry and enjoy it. Less traffic. Yeah, it is. Best time to run, less traffic. Less traffic is for sure. Only thing is you got, you know, depending on, I know she was in that last ice storm when she was stuck out there. And so that's not always fun at night in the ice. That worries me. You guys are going to give me gray hair worrying about the 2 of you out on the highway. My husband logging, right? Okay, that's dangerous enough. And then I got my brother and my daughter out there running down the highway. So please be careful. People worry about you. really don't worry about, I mean, I do worry about y'all that way, but I worry about the crazy drivers and the deer that jump out in front of you, kamikaze, you know, just whenever they decide to make their appearance, especially when it's cold. Yeah, you see I got a little spot on there. Don't worry, don't stress over it. Just go on and finish up, let it dry up, and then come back in. I'll come back in with my cotton. And you see there, I've painted 2 seat backs there, or seats, in the length of time we've been on here. I don't even know how long we've been on. Thank you for joining me, though. If you join me, this is kind of early for me because I don't normally come on a Tuesday at 7, but I just think it's easier since the time zone has changed and all that. And it doesn't feel like everybody's trying to go to bed at 8 o'clock, you know, because we're so used to it being like 9 o'clock. So anyway, there you go. This is the manatee gray and the cotton that I'm using on this set. And I'm going to go up here and I'm going to put some, you see I got my grubbies on because I get paint on me. And guess what? When you get the Dixie Belle chalk paint on your clothes, it stays in your clothes. So you got to be sure and wear something you don't mind getting a little bit of paint on. Even though I paint 100 different things, I don't even know how many a week that I paint, that I still get paint on me. So, you know, I guess they say sometimes you know you're a good artist if you can make a mess. So I don't know if that's the case or not. And obviously this is not necessarily art. This is just painting some furniture. But I just wanted to show you the adhesion and how to get your adhesion on a powder coated piece. So we want to clean it really well. You want to use a real fine sandpaper and kind of knock that powder coating down and wipe it down again. And then continue. Then you can jump on to paint. Now, if you got a chop block table and chop block seats, you do want to clean them and knock the shine down and then put some slick stick on it. That's going to make sure that your paint adheres. And obviously, people are sitting on these. You're sitting on them with blue jeans and, you know, rhinestones, whatever's on their belt, on your pants. You know, a lot of times they have that beads and stuff on them. So that's why I want to make sure that this is good, and I know I'm not going to worry about my paint coming off. I don't like to sell anything I have to worry about. So I like to make sure that I go a little above and beyond. And if this is your project and it's your home and you're putting this in there, I'm sure you want to take those same steps because they'll be with you for years to come. So I'm going to jump off of here and let you guys go. I'm going to go back over there and paint the other 2. I have 4 of these. And then we have the tabletop as well. So look for this set to be coming out on the airways soon. As we get it done, we'll showcase it and show you guys where we have gone with it. So I want to thank you. Johnny, please be careful. I hope you have a safe run and get back home this weekend to the family. And you guys are in our thoughts and prayers. And I will see you guys again later this week. So have a blessed evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. And we will see you later. Bye for now.